Hello, friends. Today we are going to learn some more about reptiles. So you need this paper, it's a word web, and crayons, and of course a regular pencil, but I'm using the marker. Okay, so let's start by putting our name on our paper. Okay, so you watched a video about reptiles. So in this middle circle, I'm going to write the word reptile. R, e, reptile. T, I, O. Reptile. Reptile. Okay, so all reptiles have certain things in common. We call them characteristics. So the video talked about all reptiles lay eggs. So in this circle here, we're going to draw the eggs a reptile lays. Let's draw turtles. So we'll make a sandy beach with that hole that the female turtle digs, and inside are all the eggs. Do you remember how they look like tennis balls? I mean, ping pong balls. Little white ping pong balls. Let me find my brown for the sand. Okay. Now, I'm going to write lay eggs. All reptiles lay a egg. Eggs. Eggs. Okay, so we know all reptiles lay eggs. I wonder if you remember anything about the skin of the reptile. What's all on the outside of reptiles? That hard like armor. Do you remember what it's called? It starts with the sound s. Scales. Reptiles have scales. So we drew turtle eggs over here. Let's draw the scales of, let's draw the scales of a snake. I'm going to do a non-venomous, so I'm going to make a really circle, round-shaped head. Okay, now I'm going to draw all these scales. And the skin of a reptile is not moist. It's very dry skin. So their scales are dry. All reptiles have scales. Snakes can be many, many different colors, but I'm going to color the snake my favorite color. So I'm going to use a light green and a dark green. This time I'm starting with the light green first, and then I'm going to color over top with the dark green. Did you notice how I slowed down right when I got near the edge? You'll see it again. That's how I keep myself coloring in the lines. I go very slow around the edge, and then when I'm in this middle area, I can move quicker. Okay. So here, I didn't leave myself a lot of room, but that's okay. I'm going to write scales. 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 All reptiles have scales. So far we know that all reptiles lay eggs, like the sea turtle, and all reptiles have scales, like this non-venomous snake. Something else I remember from the video is something about their body temperature. They said that all reptiles are cold-blooded. Cold-blooded. So, what that means is that reptiles change their temperature based on their environment. So, if it's cold outside, their body temperature will drop and get colder. But if it's really hot outside, their body temperature will get hot and get higher just like the weather outside. We are not like that. Our body temperature stays the same whether it's hot or cold because we're not cold-blooded, we're warm-blooded. But reptiles are cold-blooded. So this is how we're going to draw being cold-blooded. We're going to draw two different thermometers. One, I'm going to put a sun over top of it, and I'm going to show the thermometer being really high in temperature. And then on this side, I'm going to draw snow and show the temperature on the thermometer is very low. Okay, so let's start over here with the sun. Use your pencil to draw, and then we'll color later. A sun, and then our thermometer is going to look like this. And then over here, let's draw like snow. Like when we take the, on our calendar, when we draw the weather. So we drew the sun and we drew the snow. And then put the thermometer here too. Okay. Let me get out yellow for the sun, and then we need red for our thermometer. Thermometers can look very different. Some thermometers, the thermometers that we're drawing are thermometers that have mercury in it. And so you see the temperature, it's like the one in our classroom, the temperature shows up in red. You guys probably use digital thermometers at home. All right, there's our sun. And so we're going to draw a really high temperature. Our red is going to come up really high, almost touching the top. Because if the reptile was out in the sun, it would be very, very hot. Its temperature, the reptile would get hot, hot, hot. But if the reptile were out in the snow, its temperature would be very low and cold, just like it is right now outside. So the temperature would be low like this on a thermometer. Okay, let's write cold-blooded. Let me put my crayons away before I start writing. Remember, it's important to keep your workspace organized. It's easier to do work when things are organized. So all reptiles are cold-blooded. This is a big word. Old. Old. Cold. B. L. D. Ed. Cold-blooded. Well, that was such a big word. It went all the way outside of this circle. Cold-blooded. Okay. So far we know reptiles, all reptiles lay eggs, like the sea turtle. All reptiles have scales, like this non-venomous snake. And all reptiles are cold-blooded, like how we showed in the thermometers. Like when it's sunny out, the reptile would be super hot. And if the reptile was out in the snow, it would be very, very cold. Okay, one last thing that we saw in our video that all reptiles share is that they all breathe air through their lungs. So, how can we draw that? Let's see. How about I'm going to draw lungs. So reptiles breathe air through their lungs just like we do. Okay, there's my lungs. And I'm going to show, hold on. My dogs are barking a lot. Hold on. I just let them outside, so now it's quiet. Okay. So I drew my lungs, and now let's draw an alligator. I'm gonna make those scales all over my alligator. I made sharp teeth on my alligator. It has a round snout, and there's the alligator's nostrils. So, because alligators breathe air, they cannot stay underwater too long. They have to come up to get air. So let's draw like wind symbols to show that there's the air. Draw one more here. Okay. Now we need pink because our lungs are pink, and we'll need our greens again for our, actually we can use green, dark green and brown. Dark green and brown I think would be a good choice for our alligator. Okay, so first I'm going to color in my lungs. And our lungs are on the sides of our bodies, and when you breathe in, your stomach goes out because your lungs are filling up with air. So that's the same for alligators. Let's start with our dark green. Our alligator breathes air just like we do into the lungs. Okay, now I'm going to go over top of my dark green with brown. Okay, so let's write all reptiles have lungs. G. lungs. They breathe air through their lungs like we do. Okay, so we found out reptiles lay eggs. All reptiles have scales. All reptiles are cold-blooded, and all reptiles have lungs and breathe air through their lungs. Okay, my friends, you are becoming experts about reptiles. You know a lot about reptiles so far. Make sure that you put your work in your envelope for me to see all the things you've learned so far about reptiles. See you later, friends. Bye.